Why, hello, everybody, and welcome back to What's a Sandwich. It's February now? Yes, it's February. Well, first off, thank you, everybody, for coming to our last show last month where we collaborated with my team, Switch Visions, and we had such a blast making that painting. We will be posting that one soon. You can check it out on our page, too. It is that fish sausage sandwich. Has anybody tried making that yet? I don't know. But it is February, the month of love. And what do we all love here? We all love sandwiches. And they're so good. There's what's not to love? Pickles, cheese, meat, veggie, bread, more bread. But not like Subway amount of bread. I'm not a fan of that. No. But let's get it. We got a very special guest today. I will let Andy introduce you. So without further ado, the guy that we love to see butter biscuits, Mr. Andy Valde, What's a Sandwich himself.
You like to watch me butter biscuits?
Yes.
All right.
Well,
Wow.
it kind of worked. Like, I didn't know what else to say. I was like, I don't know, the guy that we love to butter our biscuits. Nah, let's watch him butter someone else's.
Okay. I'm going to roll with that. Thanks, Ryan.
Well,
welcome, everybody, again.
To butter the biscuit.
Welcome to another one of our live casts. Today, we're joined by a very special guest. I'm super excited to have him with us today, where we're going to be talking about our local sandwich shop favorites and maybe a few other things along the way. Our special guest today is Anthony Bencomo. He's very well known for his company, Deli Fresh Threads, and I'll let him get to that in a minute when he joins us. But I've been a huge fan of Deli Fresh Threads, actually, since 2013, when actually I started this page, which I think coincidentally, and I'm going to have Anthony confirm this, but I think it's around the same time that Deli Fresh Threads started. So very interesting.
Like you too. That's when you and I.
What's that?
That's when you and I also met too.
When you were cutting my hair and I'm telling you about this crazy sandwich page that I'm wanting to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, before I get started, I have a couple announcements that I wanted to run through. Thank you to everybody that's been playing into the March Madness. All the contestants, all the voting. It has been crazy, man. I don't know if you've checked like the previous round, Ryan, but there was 200 votes between Chuck and Cecily's sandwiches.
That was crazy. I was watching that. I was like, you guys have been crazy.
It's been crazy, and thank you all, everyone, for participating. It's been so cool to watch that. So the final round of this, right, is actually going to kick off on Sunday. So it's going to kind of go from Sunday to it usually ends on Friday because everybody's kind of tapped out at that point. But we're going to kind of crown our winner in the upcoming week. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. We also have a new video out. Ryan has gone to the Dollar Tree again.
For the last time for a long time.
I think that's it. I think we're good. Dollar Tree is done. You have tried every sandwich at the Dollar Tree. Yeah. So yeah, check that video out. Next month, we're going to have Chuck Shelton on, who is actually in the final round of our March Madness competition. He's going to talk about New Orleans sandwiches with us. He's a chef. He has some pop-up restaurants in New Orleans, or I should say a pop-up concept. He's jumping around to different restaurants that are letting him have a residency. So super excited to hear from him about that and just talk specific, like state-specific sandwiches, especially New Orleans. Another heads up, we have a new t-shirt up on the Etsy shop. We have a Game of Thrones inspired t-shirt out there, so take a look at that. I don't know. It's cool. And we have some other cool stuff coming along the way. I actually forgot to grab it before this live cast. So I'm just going to say this. We're going to have sandwich boards available on the shop very soon. My brother-in-law, Zach Storm, is making them for us. They're hand carved. They're beautiful, beautiful boards. Really excited to have that coming out here soon. Yeah, and then one other big call out. Thank you, Jim Brennan, for joining our moderator team. We're looking for more moderators. There's been a lot more members that have joined our group, and a lot more people that have even liked the page since we've kind of kicked things off last year. It's growing. So thank you all for joining. There's a lot of different people that are coming in. There's a lot of opinions floating around, so we want to make sure we can have all eyes on things and make sure everybody's happy. So if anybody's interested in becoming a moderator, please send us a message. Would love to talk to you more about it. It's just an extra set of eyes, so would appreciate it. And then just one last thing I wanted to touch on was I think between last podcast or last livecast and this livecast, there's some interesting things that happened in the group. There were some posts, there are some things that offended some people by other members. I just want to put out there that we are not condoning any kind of racial bashing by any means. Spam posting especially nobody wants that out there. So please, if you think you're gonna post something that might be questionable, that you're like, oh, this might offend someone, don't do it. That's how I'll leave that. Don't really like confronting topics like this, but I don't want our group members to feel in a place that's not fun or safe. So with all that aside, all that lots of stuff there. So sorry, Anthony, for letting you sit in this waiting room for so long, but I'm super excited to bring on our guest, Anthony Bencomo. Oh my jeez, I'm sorry, Anthony. Anthony Bencomo. Biggie.
What's going on, guys?
Biggie.
So yeah, we are here with you talking about our local sandwich shop favorites. Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe to get things kicked off, give everybody a little background on you and Deli Fresh Threads.
Sure. So my name's Biggie. That's the best way to remember me. And I own Deli Fresh Threads. It's basically sandwich themed clothing brand. All my shirts come wrapped and packed just like a sandwich, and they all come in a brown paper bag in a deli bag with a handwritten note. So I've been obviously obsessed with sandwiches, kind of just like you, Andy and Ryan. And it's just something that I've always wanted to do. So I've been doing that the whole time. This little guy that you see on my head is Biggie bread. It's a version of me. If you notice, the bread's a little bit bigger, and that's just because, just like me, I hold a little bit more meat in my sandwich. So that's kind of how it started. He's my alter ego of me. But yeah, I'm super excited to be on here. You and I have known each other for many years, interacting on social. So it's kind of awesome to be able to interact and see each other live. Yeah,
likewise. It's like finally, I don't know why it took to like be COVID for things like video interaction and things like this to happen with people, but I mean, hey, let's grow. Exactly. Let's all grow together. So does Deli Fresh Threads go back to 2013?
Yeah, we do. We go back. I started the process and I came up with the idea in 2012. I started working with everything. And then I officially released, even though I had everything going, I officially released on January 18th of 2013 is when I first released the first shirts. I wanted to do it on National Sandwich Day, but I had some web issues and all that other stuff. So then I just kind of ended up waiting to the new year to do all that. And then I just said, finally, I'm like, let's do it. Let's release it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. That's kind of where we are with this page. Yep. Like we were like, you know what? We just got to go for it. And thank you. Oh, what are you saying, Ryan?
I don't think we ever had a Band-Aid on. I kind of think it was just like wrapped in mud and seaweed, and like we just said, screw it, let nature take its course.
Yeah, definitely. Really appreciate you. Just your apparel, your like all your products that you have on your store are amazing. I love how creative it is. As a graphic designer myself, I'm inspired by the things that come out on your shop. So whether it's sandwich related or not, it does actually have an effect on me as a designer. So love it. I've loved it since 2013.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, it's obviously my whole thing is I obviously when I started the whole process of coming up with this idea, it really was, obviously I'm a fan of Johnny Cupcakes, and I'm also a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and both of them kind of between a meld, I guess I sandwiched the idea of my two loves. I loved t-shirts because I used to own a clothing brand when I was in college. And then I basically used the other thing I was obsessed with, which is sandwiches. And I just thought that nothing else was out there like this. So I wanted to do, pay an homage. I call the sandwich the king of meals. So that's basically what it is. All my sandwiches go on a menu to basically showcase that the sandwich is, can be had for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sandwiches.
And for those that don't know, Biggie Anthony has donated to our contest before. So thank you so much for those prizes as well.
Your sandwich spreaders.
Oh, sandwich spreaders are clutch.
Yeah. The pins. I love those pins.
Thanks, man.
They're so cool. So cool. I wanted to keep them for myself, but I felt too guilty to keep them. I had to give them away.
No, it's a great cause. Listen, I absolutely love the fact that there needs to be let's be honest, we're talking sandwiches. There's enough love to the pizza and the taco. But we know what's the better of the handheld items, of the handheld foods. It's the sandwich. So we got to stick together and, showcase the love of what, of this great sandwich.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, what's a sandwich to you?
What's a sandwich? Well, it's funny. When I thought about that based on obviously the title of your, of the group. So I will tell you that to me, I make everything into a sandwich. So I've made, the spaghetti and meatball dinner into a sandwich. So a lot of times, as long you can get as creative as you want with it. So for me, as much as people say bread needs to be involved, I mean, I eat a cupcake like a sandwich. I mean, that is the proper way to eat a cupcake.
I do that.
Take the bottom off, put it on top, you eat that. Yeah. I like ice cream cookie sandwiches. I like s'mores. So to me, that's kind of how I look at it, as basically at least two layers of something, usually mostly bread, in between some form of meat or protein or cheese. Now at the same time as that I say that, I will, because the topic may come up, because I'm afraid Ryan may bring it up. A hot dog to me is not a sandwich, and a burger is not a sandwich to me. To me, the burger, if you ever look at a menu, a sandwich is actually never on the sandwich. The sandwich and a burger are actually never on the menu together. They're always separated. And to me, the way I tell people this when people bring it up, because, at the end of the day, I really want people to just eat what you want to eat. But the hot dog to me, if you take no bun, it's still a hot dog. I tell people jokingly when they ask me, because obviously we get asked, I'm pretty sure you get asked a lot of questions like this. When people ask me if a hot dog is a sandwich, I say no, but a bologna sandwich would be a hot dog sandwich, because it's technically the same kind of substance or thing made. Not to mention, if you follow the Meat VP is what he goes by on Twitter, which is actually the president of the Hot Dog and Sausage Council, they actually say also that the hot dog is not a sandwich. And then the question of the hamburger, to me, that's the reason why the patty melt is the love child of a hamburger and a sandwich. That's what the patty melt is. So for me, yes, I consider most things together, sandwich together is a sandwich, but a hot dog and a burger are not. I know you didn't ask me for that, but I'm afraid Ryan's going to ask me, so I might as well just bring it up.
I wasn't actually even going to bring that up. But no, I got to ask. Wait, can we go back to this? Wait, what was that thing on Twitter? The Hot Dog Council?
Yeah, so if you look up Meat VP is what he goes by. He is the president. He is the president of the Hot Dog and Sausage Council. And so I basically use him as my trump card. I guess I use him as my ace of spades. When anyone ever asks, hot dog a sandwich? I go, no, but go ask my boy Meat VP about it. And so he's the one that I use as my kind of like my go-to guy when anyone ever brings it up. I just be like, go talk to him. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, enjoy your hot dog. Hot dogs are delicious.
Wait, can I read off this guy's thing real quick?
Yeah, do it.
Eric, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I am the Vice President of Public Affairs at North American Meat Institute and President of the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, hot-dog.org. So there's a whole website too. And then there's meatinstitute.org. I'm following him. This is awesome.
He's actually pretty. He's actually a fun one.
On here.
I was gonna say we got to get this guy. If we can get this guy on here, that'd be great. Now put him on with you, Biggie.
We'll tag team together because we're in accordance that hot dogs are delicious, but not sandwiches.
It is a interesting topic, and I know that there's other sandwich groups out there where it is bannable if you put that out there. We are open-minded, but
we love the argument.
I love the argument of it. I think it's fun to debate within reason, as long as nobody's getting too hurtful. But yeah, it's something that guy is like the reason this page exists. So I gotta figure out how to get this guy on here because
he's actually really nice. So I would definitely tweet him and talk to him, and you could probably get him on because he's pretty good. Like I've gone back and forth with him on Twitter, so I'm pretty sure you probably might be able to get him on.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely try to do that.
I think I blew
awesome.
Ryan's mind.
Yeah, he's gonna be like reading through all these tweets later.
Hot Dog and Sausage Council,
dude. I don't mess around. Man. I was like, I don't mess around.
Did you know about this and not tell me, Andy?
I've heard of it, but I didn't know if there was like a vocal member of this council. So
and the fact that his Twitter handle is Meat VP is just like pure money.
Yeah, right. Oh man, he's probably got like the best barbecue pit too.
I was just smoking meat this weekend.
Yeah, anything good?
I was making pork tenderloin jerky.
Oh, you like doing that, the jerkies.
Mm-hmm.
Someone just asked where is Anthony located, or where's Biggie located?
So I'm originally from New Jersey, but I currently live in Orlando, Florida.
Cool. And then Brittany's sending me some notes through here. Someone's asking, what's your favorite sandwich, Biggie?
My favorite sandwich. So I love all sandwiches, but my favorite one that I pretty much can say I religiously eat. I used to religiously eat. It no longer exists. So there's a sandwich called the Chimu that a friend of mine who owned a food truck. It was like one of the first food trucks I ever went and visited. Since I know the conversation's obviously local sandwich shop favorites. One of my favorite, it was like one of the first food trucks I ever eaten at, probably around the same time, around 2012, 2013. And it was this food truck called Treehouse Truck. And it was run by this guy, super nice. And he basically was like, hey, I have this sandwich called the Chimu. And I was like, oh, the name sounds amazing to begin with. So I'm like, okay, what is it? And so he's like, well, it's chicken and steak. And it has Asian slaw, a mango barbecue sauce, sweet potato fries on top. And then it uses a Puerto Rican sweetbread, which is called bang soao. And so what I loved about it was all of it was together. So I basically consider that like a full meal sandwich. So you got the side, you got everything all in the sandwich. And it literally, when I ate it, it was like, oh, so it was like the greatest thing ever. To the point where I made it a point that every few weeks I would look for that food truck anywhere and I would go eat at it. And it became one of those things where it was like a birthday thing where I was like, it was on my birthday. That's what I wanted to eat. And I did it for a few years, and then he closed the food truck, or he actually sold the food truck, and the food truck that they sold it to stopped making it. So yeah, super, super upset. And then, luckily for me, the owner actually ended up opening another type of restaurant. It was like it's a barbecue place called Pig Floyd's in Orlando, which is kind of like, he calls it urban barbacoa is what he calls it. And one of the things that my wife, since I'm friends with them, my wife on my 40th birthday, actually told him, she's like, hey, listen, my husband can't stop talking about this stupid sandwich. You need to make it for him. And so he actually went and bought steak, made chicken, like especially made me the sandwich for my birthday because he knows I love it. So like I'm still in talks with him. We were in talks before COVID that we were going to do like, it was going to be like a night, because I do this thing called Sandwich Eat Up, and we were going to do a special night and we were going to resurrect that sandwich and bring it back for one night, because it's still my favorite, which works very well as well, because of the fact that when you live in a place where you eat a lot of sandwiches and there's a lot of sandwich places in Orlando, it makes it very easy to say, I like this sandwich, because then you're never upsetting anybody else. But it truly is my favorite sandwich. Like I'll eat that all day. I mean, I'll never say no to a meatloaf sandwich or anything else, but the chimu, that's my jam.
Awesome. Yeah. It's funny that it was a perfect segue into this, because my first question, like related to that subject, or this subject, was going to be, is there a local place by you that really means a lot to you? That was the perfect answer. We have one by us. I think, Ryan, I mean, I don't know how much this place means to you, but it means a lot to me, is Epic Deli. Epic Deli is a sandwich place right here local that they make the most fantastic, like off the wall sandwiches that you wouldn't even imagine. I had now it is controversial because some people call a wrap but just a wrap, it's not a sandwich. But I had this fantastic wrap from them, kind of going back to what you were saying about like it's a meal in one. It was, I mean, without listing off all the ingredients, all you need to know is that it was Chinese. It was Chinese, basically. It was Chinese food, and it was brilliant because not only did they capture like literally what comes in the styrofoam container, like whatever you may order, it was just like I think it was like a teriyaki chicken or something like that. But
that's the one you got when we that one. Oh my god, that thing, it barely fit in the container.
Yeah, it's
they also
huge.
had this goes to one of our debatable items, if a chimichanga, that stuff, like burritos and stuff, but they had one where they rolled it in flaming hot Cheetos, then deep fried it.
Ryan's a big fan of flaming hot Cheetos.
Oh yeah. But my favorite sandwich place is they got rid of it about 7 years ago. It was this place called Little John's. It was at this little corner, and it was like a perfect corner for a Walgreens. Walgreens bought the land and then put a Walgreens there. It was so upsetting. But they had the best gyro sandwich ever. And it's so hard to find a good gyro.
Yeah. I haven't had a good gyro in a while. I think it's just because I haven't been back to the office. I'm stuck here. There's nothing Greek around here. But yeah, would you consider a gyro sandwich a sandwich, Biggie?
No, but I consider it kind of like a wrap or a burrito type. So I probably wouldn't.
Yeah,
I'd eat the heck out of it. I eat one at this place called Little Greek in near my house that I eat at. It's awesome. So I definitely know the flavors of it. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Speaking of local places and things like that that you were bringing up, Ryan, there's one that actually kind of comes to mind that inspired this page. Now, people called it, I was introduced to it by my wife, but people call it ASS, and it's an acronym for Algonquin Sub Shop.
I've never been there. I drive past it all the time.
It is amazing. It's only subs, and they're all very unique, just like Epic Deli is. And I can't really tell you what's the best one there because they all are like unique in their own way. So you got to go check it out. But that was like a pivotal moment when I was going there. I was taking pictures and just putting them on Instagram. And then it turned into this whole thing where I was like, why am I always the one sharing these pictures? Like, there's so many cool sandwiches out there. Why wouldn't we have like a community of that? So that's what brought this group on. Since then I've been just trying to like pull everybody together, and yeah, that place holds kind of a little blip in my memory bank of like, this is like the foundations of how this whole thing got started. But yeah, so do you have any, so kind of, and that was a while ago. It wasn't my childhood, of course, but
Yeah.
Do you have, kind of thinking of special memories revolving around food? Do you have any like childhood memories, maybe high school or like college, where you're like, oh man, this sandwich was so good, and then like it just brings you back to that moment? It's like a time machine.
College sandwich story, Biggie.
What was that?
I got a feeling you got a good college sandwich from college story.
I may have one. So it's funny. It's funny because like growing up as a kid, my daughter and my wife make fun of, laugh, think it's quite humorous because my mom and dad, they consider a sandwich is made for, you could have it maybe for breakfast, you can have it for lunch, but you can't have it for dinner. So obviously for me, I would try to make everything into a sandwich. So obviously whenever my mom made meatloaf, as a kid, meatloaf sandwiches was obviously like, if I knew that was coming in for lunch the next day, I was going nuts over it. And then the one, I don't know why, but all my college roommates, still to this day bring up one day for a Super Bowl. They wanted, we were going to have a Super Bowl party and it was just the four of us. And I basically was like, you know what, I am going to, we went to Costco or BJ's and we basically bought like a huge thing. I had like a huge pot and I made this massive, we bought rolls and we just did like full on, like in the oven. Like it was like actually like legit, like not college food. We actually made like legit meatball subs for the Super Bowl. So it was like, like I even like, you scoop up the bread, you put the meatballs in, you put the cheese, you put it in the oven, let it melt and toast everything. And like to this day, I still got my old college roommates would be like, remember that time you made meatball subs? And I was like in our college apartment. And I was like, yeah. I was like, it wasn't that special. They're like, oh yeah, it was special. It was good. It was good. And I was like, well, I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm like, there's definitely moments that you think of like amazing sandwiches, or just like what brings you back as a kid. Cause like my dad, even though, as a kid, my dad would just make me a piece of toast, would cut it diagonally, put cheese on it and butter and fold it up and be like, here. And it was like, like a little half sandwich. And I would eat that for breakfast pretty much every single day when I was as a kid growing up. So it's kind of like, I guess it kind of started that. They say that you eat about 193 sandwiches in the course of a year. I doubt that very highly, that any of us probably eat that few of them. I probably eat more than that. But that's what they say is like usually the average for someone in the course of a year. And they say you eat about 1,500 PB&Js by the time you get to high school, or by the time you finish high school.
I will say this, since we started these live casts and I started doing those videos, I've eaten so many sandwiches. Like, I'm like, did I record that one or no?
You've eaten a lot of weird sandwiches too, and I appreciate your donation to science. Oh man, there's actually a really good quote in the chat right now, and it's a little bit different from what we're talking about, but I love this quote, this message from Kyle. I think a lost thing is that as the US, we have a perception of a sandwich, but if you go around the world, there's so many other ways to make a sandwich. And
I used to work with him.
Oh, well, there you go. A little shout out to Kyle from Ryan. Yeah, I agree. I think I love this subject because it's just so, it brings on memories. It brings on, where you've traveled, it brings on opinions. It's great. And it's something that's not, negative, hopefully not negatively driven by like the media and the government and all that fun stuff. We just put it aside and talk about sandwiches.
The idea is you just get creative and literally eat what you want and try to make it into a sandwich. I mean, I've made
like edible Legos.
Yeah. Oh, edible Legos. I like that. I actually, I actually just did I just did a podcast with some friends of mine that have a food truck, and he and I were talking, and one of the things that made me laugh was he calls potato chips inside a sandwich, he calls them redneck lettuce, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And so I just think it's hilarious because like the crunch factor of it is great. PB&J.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's brilliant. I love the the different lingo that comes along with sandwich too.
Yeah.
Like there's someone on Instagram that calls them Sammys, and I've kind of
Yep.
adopted that. I love that, like
Sammy,
Sandwiches.
Sando. Yeah.
Sando.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sandwiches, the Spanish people, there's a lot of people that call them sandwiches with a
Sandwiches.
G. Yeah, sandwiches. Yeah, there's definitely quite a different ways of calling different names you can call it. But I mean, heck, I have a shirt that says Hoagie, a real American hero. I mean, because they call them, spuds, they call them subs. There's just so many different names for them, which is great. I mean, and it's and I think a lot of it is just because exactly how you said and what Kyle said is that they're known worldwide. I mean, a bocadillo is a sandwich in Spain, but a torta is a sandwich in Mexico. I mean, it's kind of like dialect and accents. I mean, there's different ways and different flavors of sandwiches, just like there's different names for it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And actually, I think I have a later question about like traveling and sandwiches. But one funny thing that came up while you were talking about your college story,
yeah.
I was thinking about when my wife and I actually met in college. At the time of the story that takes place, we weren't actually dating. We were just friends, and actually we had kind of just met each other. But we're at the school, just hanging out, waiting for classes, and Chick-fil-A actually just opened up in the neighborhood, and the college had Chick-fil-A come and kind of promote that they were open and all that, which was a brilliant marketing idea. And so they were handing out free sandwiches, and everybody in the school, like everyone, was walking around with Chick-fil-A bags, which was pretty cool. And so we're just sitting in the hallway, and I'm eating my sandwich, and she's getting ready for class, and I'm just like, "Hey, are you gonna eat, or are you just gonna wait? Like it's gonna get cold." And she's like, "Actually, do you want my sandwich?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I love what I just had." So I had that one, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm one up on you now," because since then we love Chick-fil-A, we love Popeyes too, but I hold that over her head that I'm one up on her on the Chick-fil-A sandwiches. But so every time we go to Chick-fil-A, I'm just thinking about that day where I'm just like, yeah, I'll have another one of those.
All right, Biggie, got a question for you. Peanut butter and jelly. Do you like the peanut butter on top or bottom?
I actually like the peanut butter on both sides because it's to make it so that you don't have a soggy peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You put peanut butter on both breads. So that way the jelly, when you put the jelly in the middle, it doesn't actually make your sandwich soggy. So that's usually kind of how I'll do it. I'll put a little bit of
I like it.
I like
it a lot.
Yeah, dude. I think it's very important. Structural integrity, super important when it comes to sandwich making.
The build.
Mine don't last long enough to get soggy.
Well, yeah, me neither. Like usually it's at least a 2 sandwich. It's at least 2 PB&Js or 2 grilled cheese. If you're gonna do that and you're not making them like monster like 3 bread style, you have to at least 2 of them.
Yeah. There's a question in here from someone, I can't find it now, but they were asking if you like cooking, like if you like cooking your favorite sandwiches, or do you like going and having them made for you?
I'm a mix of both. Is what I am. I love creating sandwiches. I love coming up with stuff. Like I do like an orange chicken banh mi, is what I do. So with like I go to Trader Joe's, get their orange chicken, and then I get like the French roll, at the supermarket, and then I pickle my own veggies, and then I do like a sriracha mayo, and I do so I do an orange chicken banh mi. I've done buffalo chicken dip melts, so you put it on Texas toast. I mean, I pretty much make everything. So sometimes sometimes I obviously prefer what I make. I enjoy the coming up with it, but at the same time, I absolutely love like it's gonna I know no one's gonna believe me, and you can Google this, and I even made a shirt of it. But Orlando is the city of sandwiches. But based on Google, and supposedly based on either the searches and the way people are going, they consider it they consider the sandwich capital of the United States to be Orlando, Florida. Don't ask me why. My friends joke around because I do this thing called sandwich eat up events, where I would go to different sandwich shops. So they think that maybe played a factor. I doubt it. I'm not that. I have no clout whatsoever. But because of it, I seriously love, like, I love taking people in Orlando, because what happens is Orlando, the first thing you think of is chain restaurants. Yes, I have all the chains. We pretty much have all the major chains. But like when people tell me that, I'm like, dude, there's so many other places to eat in Orlando. Like, we're more than Harry and Mickey. Like, there's just so many good sandwich shops. I mean, there's a reason why I've done over 50 sandwich eat up events around the city, because I want to showcase those places, because they make some amazing, amazing sandwiches. So as much as I like right now in the pandemic, I obviously go and I make a lot of stuff at my house, but like when I want a hot chicken sandwich, I don't want to make it. I rather go. I have like 2 places I can get a hot chicken sandwich at that I can do. And I sometimes joke around because I know there's the chicken battle with like, with Popeyes and everything. And I'm like, yeah, Popeyes is good, but dude, I'm like, go support a small business. I'm like, I can name 3 other sandwich shops that make a better hot chicken than Popeyes. And you're supporting a small business. I mean, I tend to be that guy that gets on the soapbox for it, because don't get me wrong, I never say no to Chick-fil-A, especially a chicken biscuit. But I'm always going to preach about, hey, have you thought about going to that place? Like, kind of like to Ryan, like, Ryan, how come you haven't gone to the place that's called Ass that makes badass sandwiches? Like, that's something you gotta do that, dude. What's up?
Yeah, I think that is the next video. That's the next video. Get out of
dude, come on. I want you to eat there. I want you to eat there.
All right, cool. And you know what, Biggie? I think I might FaceTime you while I'm eating it.
Do it. I'll give you my number. I seriously want to. I definitely want to see pictures of what it is, because I'm all about people that get creative with sandwiches.
All right, Algonquin Sub Shop. I'm coming. Monday. That's my next day off.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, someone asked, actually my dad. Hey, Dad. He asked, have you ever had a gator sandwich down there in Florida?
I've never had a gator sandwich. I've had gator bites, but I've never had a gator sandwich. But
I've never heard of that, but
yeah, there's actually a place where I went it's called Black Hammock, and what they do is they do airboat rides. And then when they're done, they were serving food, and they had gator 4-ways. And so the 4-ways was like, it was like grilled and buffaloed and like fried and all this other stuff. So I got to try it. It was pretty good. I mean, I don't know if I'd eat a gator po' boy or anything like that, but it was worth a shot. Yes, Cecily, definitely eat always local.
Getting po' boy.
What did you say, Ryan?
So when we do our sandwich road trip, I'm getting the gator po' boy.
Oh man, the more we do these, the more I want to do the sandwich road show. Maybe we'll call it the sandwich road show.
Let's make a GoFundMe so we get the Winnebago and do this. We can go visit Biggie.
Come visit me.
We'll plaster Ryan's face on the side of the Winnebago
with a big sub in his hand like this.
Yeah.
About to eat a sandwich.
Actually, there is a picture of me.
There is?
There's a picture of me eating a sandwich like that, where like everything's just coming out the side of it.
Oh, great! Send it to me. I'll put it on a mug.
Let's see if I can find it.
Okay. Oh yeah. So actually, speaking of Florida, I don't know if you consider Key West Florida. It's pretty far down there, but I had a really cool memory when I was down in Key West. Actually, with my wife. It was I think it was 2014 or something like that. But we were at a place called El Mesón de Pepe, and I had a Cubano there, and it was it was to die for. It was so good. Like I've had Cuban sandwiches up here and stuff like that in the Chicagoland area, but it was nowhere, none of those have nowhere near been as good as that one. I want to go back there so bad, but it was just a nice restaurant. It's very small. I'm trying to remember the name of the pier, but it's on this pier. You overlook the water. It's beautiful there. And we're sitting there eating this to die for sandwich, and there's these wild chickens everywhere running around.
Chickens everywhere in Key West.
Everywhere. And so I'm eating this sandwich and just like having the moment of my life. And then next thing I know, Brittany's like, look under the table. And I look under, and there's like the little chicken like standing on my foot. And I was just like, dude, do you know, like, we eat you kind of guys. Like we eat you. But it's just another one of those things where it kind of brings me back to like you're eating something that's so amazing, and then you get snapshots that moment in time. Have you ever had any like vacation memories where you've been somewhere and it's just like, man,
so
this is something?
You mentioned
the chicken.
Did I what now?
He wants to know if you named the chicken.
I did not.
Okay.
Andy, did you say Chicago? You're Chicago?
Yeah.
So I can tell you, so I got to go, I had a buddy of mine who worked at an airline, and he basically said, hey, I'll fly you to Chicago, because he's from Chicago. And he goes, and we will eat around the city for one day. So basically we would fly in first thing in the morning, and then we would leave. I had a whole game plan set up. I didn't get to eat the whole day like I wanted to. Of course, the original game plan was we're not going to eat full sandwiches. We're going to split them, so it makes it easy. I ended up eating at two places. One of them was, to this day, I still tell people it's one of my favorite Italian sandwiches in Chicago. It's called JP Graziano's. And it is one of my favorites, and it was referred to me by Jeff Morrow, because from Food Network. I had messaged him and told him, hey, I'm going to be in town. I'd love to see you. Is there any place you could recommend? And so he recommended that place to me, and it was amazing when I ate it. I literally, to this day, like, and I think what was amazing to it, and I think sometimes what happens when you go to certain restaurants or certain people, if you go to a certain, especially like a small mom and pop sandwich shop, you start having that interaction with the owner, and then you start falling in love with the owner, and you hear their passion of what they're about. And so like he and we're sitting down, and I'm eating this sandwich, and I'm having like a foodgasm as I'm eating it. And this man is like, he is like straight up, like, we're just talking, like it's like almost like two people just like in love talking about like what they love. And he's like, and we slice the meats on right, like at the same time. So therefore there's no zinc. And he goes, and the lettuce, we shred the lettuce, but then we put the oil and the vinegar, and we toss the lettuce. So that way, when you eat the Italian, it's not like this, and all the lettuce holds, because the lettuce will hold the oil and the vinegar. And I'm like, dude, you are talking my language. I'm like, I love you, And so like, that was one of those moments. So like, it's been a few years, and like he and I still interact and communicate with each other, because I tell anybody who ever tells me they're going to Chicago, I'm like, go to JP Graziano's, have an Italian sub, tell them Biggie sent you. I was like, I promise you will not be sad by it. But yeah, I pretty much have a thing where whenever we travel anywhere, my wife and I made a deal. Obviously, I have to hit all the major sandwich shops in the area, but I also made a deal with her that we would not eat sandwiches the whole trip, as much as I would love to. But pretty much anywhere I go, I pretty much go and eat. I look, do my research, try to find what I can find on Yelp, look and see if I follow any food bloggers from those areas, ask them where they recommend. And that's kind of how I pretty much run it. I mean, and that's also kind of how I get inspired by some of my shirts. Like my Bigfoot subs got inspired when I went to Portland and Seattle. I basically ate at some amazing sandwich shops in those areas. And just like when I travel, there's just certain places automatically I laugh, because I have people that will come to me and ask me, they're like, hey, I'm going to Atlanta. Where should I eat? I'm going here. Where should I eat? And if I've been there, or if not, I know people that can tell me to go eat those places. I'm always like shooting messages to people like, go eat it here and go check this place out. Just because I really want them to try a smaller place. I don't want you to go to, no offense to Potbellies. I don't want you to go to Potbellies when you go to Chicago. I want you to go to the local, little sub shop that no one knows about. That's delicious.
Have you been to Pork and Mindy's by Jeff
No,
Morrow?
I think it closed. Actually. He used to have it, but it closed. But I didn't get a chance to go.
What was the other place you hit up here in Chicago?
I went to what's it called? Cheesy's. I went to
Cheesy's is good.
And I had like this chicken tender, this like buffalo chicken tender on Texas toast grilled cheese. That was so good. And to the point where I actually told another shop around when I did one of my sandwich eat up events. They're like, hey, you have any ideas for a sandwich? I was like, do you got any? And they had chicken tenders. I was like, can you make me a buffalo chicken chicken tender, like grilled cheese with it? And it's so good. But yeah, Cheesy's actually pretty good stuff. I enjoyed it. Those are like the two that I had. And then we went to then after that, it got unraveled because we got so full that you didn't want to eat anything. And so we were walking around aimlessly around the city until the end. I ended up having an Italian beef, but it was like we were going to run late and miss our flight home. And I was like, so I ended up getting something at the airport and it just wasn't anything good. But still
like all prepackaged there.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't get the full effect on it. But yeah, man, traveling to me is like, that is like my favorite part of traveling is going and get to eat the sandwich and go eat at the place where the locals eat. I mean, that is literally my favorite part of traveling, like that and the destination and food.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone asked if you had been to Manny's. Have you been to Manny's? I'm not familiar with Manny's.
I have not been to Manny's, Kyle.
And another one of our peoples asked if you could explain what eat-ups are.
What eat-ups are? So I basically, what happened was, since when you own a clothing brand that's sandwich themed and people think that you talk so much about it and show pictures of sandwiches, people then start asking you like, well, you don't own a sandwich shop? And then they get upset. And then they basically go, well, where do you eat a sandwich at? And so then I got tired of just telling people where to go. So what I did was I straight up, I created sandwich eat ups. It's kind of like a meetup, but it's sandwich eat up. And what I did was, for a long time, I did, like I said, I think I did close to 60 of them. And then I stopped a little bit before the pandemic. But what I was doing was every month I would pick a sandwich shop in the area that I actually liked. So it was kind of a way of me saying, hey, I approve of this place. And I would say, hey, why don't you come eat with me? And so what we would do is every month we would eat at different places. Usually I would do it on a Tuesday because that's a slow night for a restaurant. And then people would literally just come. I would like fill their restaurant up with all customers. And most of the cool thing about it was, and really the concept of what I did was, my whole thing was not for me to sell. It wasn't me saying, hey, I'm Deli Fresh Threads, buy my stuff. It was, hey, I'm Biggie. I love sandwiches. I want you to eat with me and I want you to support another sandwich shop. And that's kind of how it went. And so I built a relationship and a community of people that want to go and eat at these places. So we would go and I would literally showcase these places. We would all eat together and eat there. And then it would introduce people to these restaurants that they've never been to because they always like, oh, I heard about this place. Like there's a place in Orlando called Pom Poms. And it is an amazing, I call her the sandwich queen. And she makes these amazing sandwiches. She's been open for over 14 years. It's in a hole in the wall location. No one would go to it. But I went there and then people started eating. Now all I hear is people going, dude, I went to Palms and I had about 7 items on her menu because her sandwiches are so good. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about doing it is being able to give back and do that. That's one of the reasons why I did support your local sandwich shop. That's why t-shirts. That's why I also did eat local t-shirts, because I want to practice what I preach. I absolutely want people to eat at these places. My favorite one ever was my 50th my 50th sandwich eat up on National Sandwich Day. I did a sandwich walking tour. The mayor gave me, made it National Sandwich Day, like National Sandwich Day in Orlando. It was what he made it. He gave me a proclamation for it. But I got to do this like one area in Orlando called the Milk District. has about four good, amazing sandwich shops in a mile radius. And so what I did was I worked with all four of the sandwich shops, and I said, hey, here's the deal. I'm going to have a walking tour every hour. We're going to go to a different sandwich shop. So you need to be prepared. But you also can't give me the massive amount of food. I need you to give me something that I can make someone survive an entire 4 sandwich shops. And we set it up and we did it. And I basically had a good chunk of people. It was awesome. I had a bunch of my friends helped out, literally just leading the way. And we went to every single sandwich shop, and we basically ate at every single one. At the end, we ended at this one place called Beefy King, which is literally kind of, they roast. It's almost like, I will say it's a better version, a homey version, a family-owned over 50-year version of an Arby's. So they basically roast their own meats and roast beef and everything. And they made these like roast beef sandwiches and milkshakes at the end. That was like our finale. And it was literally one of my favorite days. And like, I can't wait for COVID to end, where I can go back to doing this stuff, because I want to do this. And I'm actually now starting to talk to people that possibly there may be options of things that we may do in the future, where I may even be able to have transportation to help me drive to some of these places, which would be an amazing thing to kind of work and tag team together. But yeah, it's absolutely awesome. I absolutely love it. The owners obviously appreciate it, because you're now bringing them business and customers. Because really, at the end of the day, I tell the manager, I was like, hey, I don't want anything. I literally want you to, it's me wanting to showcase you, and you basically doing your thing. Now, if you provide bad customer service, you're just gonna, that's on you. That's not on me. I'm not making the food. But the thing was, all these owners loved it, and they were all there, and they all interacted, just like when you go to a food truck. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you go to food trucks a lot of times, right? Like, you want to have that interaction with those owners and that food. And sometimes, I don't know what it is, when the owner's really nice, like it just adds a little extra flavor to it. Like, you like it even more because you want to like it more and support them more. And then when the owner's like a total pain in the whatever, and you don't like them, I somehow don't like the food. I'm like, oh, it's good. It's really good. You should eat it. They're like, well, do you go there? I'm like, there's just so many places to eat at. There's just so many places to eat at.
Yeah. And most times those small local places are the super nice, they're going to wait on you hand and foot. They're going to do anything because, they're doing it out of passion,
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about, eating out of those local shops and stuff, is that they're just, there's that homey special touch that you're not going to get anywhere else. It's not replicated anywhere else. It's just by them.
Yeah, you're not going to get that at a Jimmy John's or a Subway. I mean, I tell people, don't go to Subway. That tastes like depression. That's what the depression tastes like.
Man, don't get me started on Subway. Stubway, yeah, literally Stubway. No, I
don't get me wrong.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. They started the idea of the sandwich, so I can't hate them so much, but they do taste like depression. And I did eat them for a very long time, but then once I started the brand and I started eating at more and more local sandwich shops, I was like, I can't do this. I just can't do it.
So I guess I can't believe how much time has flown by. First off, everybody go check out Deli Fresh Threads. And this is why I brought Biggie on here, because of
his sandwich spreader.
Have so much to tell us. But I guess one last thing I was going to ask you before we kind of wrap things up here, because we're getting close to time. Yep. Okay. So let's just say in a world where you did have a sandwich shop and you had to have a sandwich shop, what would be your number one featured item on your menu?
That's a good question. I actually have two concepts for sandwich shops. So I'll go with the one version that I have. I would say I definitely would have a spaghetti and meatball sub. It would be a garlic loaf, and it would be spaghetti and meatball with mozzarella cheese on top, and it would be obviously melted. I'm not Italian, but it's something that I love. as well as maybe a I definitely would have a Cuban because I am Cuban, but I would have probably a meatloaf sandwich. So I would do a lot of comfort foods, comfort sandwiches. The spaghetti and meatball one is just something that I love. I think it's just a fun concept to do, just because I used to make it even with like, not even real garlic bread, but just like regular toast. And then the meatloaf sandwich. I mean, those are just certain comfort foods that you just kind of like. When I see it on the menu, I want to eat it. It's just so good.
So does it come with a spot to sleep too afterwards?
Heck yeah, man. Of course it does. It comes with a siesta chair is what it comes with.
Get there at 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
And you definitely got to have like on the meatloaf sandwich. Like if you did a meatloaf sandwich, you definitely got to have like the one, you got to have a little bit of a crunchier bread, because you need that, like that's the flavor, the flavor profile has got to be different. You can't have all mush, because if you're going to have mashed potatoes and also have that, you're going to have some crunchiness, or something like a toasted bread or something that's going to be able to hold up when you eat it. Because when I eat a sandwich, I want to eat a sandwich. I don't want a salad. I don't want to take a bite. That's one thing I can promise you on my sandwich shop. When you take a bite and all that stuff falls on the plate, that's a salad. I don't want that. I want everything on that sandwich. I want that hug of the bread. Give it as you go in your mouth. It's just like a bunch of love coming in.
Yeah, man, you have got this down.
Yeah, dude. This is my obsession. I was just thinking about that song.
Step up our game.
Oh man, I love it. I absolutely love it. Ryan, if you had a sandwich shop, would yours feature a Cheeto sandwich of some kind?
No, it would probably be an Italian beef, like a really good, super juicy, like, but the key with it would be like mega cheese on it.
What kind of cheese? What kind of cheese would you put on it?
Mozzarella, but like it would just have so much on it. It would just be like oozing out the back of the sandwich while you're trying to eat it, and then you'd have to have like a spoon afterwards to like shovel it in.
Sitting in a spoon, and you've got the sandwich inside the spoon.
No, it comes served
on the side. It comes with a spoon on the side,
and
so
like here's your sandwich, and it like comes on the spoon, and you're like, and then like you gotta like eat it, and then like it just drips into this, and you just gotta like pour it back up on top and catch it.
Is that a Mickey Mouse?
I was just gonna say, did you know I was gonna be on the show, and you said, "Oh, Mickey Mouse." So yeah, I'm gonna have a Mickey Mouse on there.
I think it's my roommates. It was just conveniently placed for me to use as a sub. I mean, as a Italian beef.
Oh man,
what about you, Andy? What would be yours?
I'm for people that know me pretty well, that they know that I love cheese. So I absolutely love any kind of grilled cheese. But not, I of course love the classic grilled cheese, but I like the ones where it gets a little bit more exotic. So there's one creation we had recently where we had cheddar cheese, goat cheese, honey roasted pears, and sauteed onions on this grilled cheese sandwich. And it was like, I was trying to recreate a burger, but obviously I didn't have the meat. It was like the angels were singing when I took this first bite. And I actually didn't create the first iteration. It was my wife. So I had to try and create it another time. But that definitely, I think, would be on the menu. At least the honey roasted pears, because that alone, I was like, why don't we make this all the time? I love these honey roasted pears. Like, I wouldn't think to do that normally, but oh man, it was so good. So
can I ask you guys a sandwich question, since we brought up the topic of grilled cheese? At what point does a grilled cheese stop becoming a grilled cheese when you start adding components to it? Does that, do you understand what I mean? Like, at what point does a grilled cheese, when does it stop becoming a grilled cheese and then becoming a ham and cheese, like a hot ham and cheese? Like, at what point does that, what do you think is the tipping point of switching from grilled cheese to hot ham and cheese or something like that?
When you add, I think, honestly, in my opinion, it stops being a grilled cheese once you start adding other things. Like, I think this should just be cheese.
See, like, I I agree to a point with you, Ryan, but I also agree with like Andy, because what happens is what he's adding, like the sauteed onions, the pears and things like that, that's kind of like adding tomato, sauteed onions, like that aspect. I think once you start adding like the protein, where you start adding like the turkey, or you start adding like, I don't know, let's just say like the pork or roast beef or anything like that, then it starts becoming like that hot, like the hot ham. And
I see where
right?
you're going, because then it becomes like a toasted like a toasted pork sandwich.
Yeah, like a pressed sandwich or something like that, like a toasted sandwich. Yeah. And that's kind of I was thinking about that. And like I think what happened was I think it was Andy's picture that triggered it, because I started asking people, going, well, what is the trigger point? Like at what point? Because my wife, she's like, and in my house, the definition in my house is, as long as there's more cheese than there's that, like as long as cheese is the main ingredient, then it's considered a grilled cheese. My wife would be like, well, you could put ham in it, you could put whatever you want in it, but I'm still going to call it a grilled cheese, even though it may be like a ham and cheese, a hot ham and cheese or something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's exactly that. And that's what I would totally say, is that like it becomes either like a patty melt. Once you start adding milk, once you start adding meat, it starts becoming like a patty melt, or like a ham and cheese, or a panini. But yeah, above 50% or maybe even above 60% needs to be cheese for that still to be a grilled cheese. I would say, unless bacon, maybe bacon bits, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, you could add a little bacon to it, a little crumbled bacon in there with some sauteed onions, maybe some of your pears, your honey pears. I think you got something.
Yeah.
A little salty.
Grilled cheese tomorrow night.
Well, you're gonna have grilled cheese tomorrow?
Grilled cheese and tomato soup is happening tomorrow.
Do it.
Do you use butter?
All right. Mayonnaise? Well,
I know I'm gonna give the mayonnaise a shot. Why not?
But it's got to do a thin layer of it. Don't put too much in it, because if you do, then it becomes gets a little bit more sloppy. You got to just do like a thin layer of it. And or if you want to go crazy, Carl Ruiz from Food Network, he used to do a mixture of both butter and mayo. That's good. Dude, try that. So you mix the butter, a little butter and a little mayo, mix it together, and then spread it on.
I got an idea. I'll post it tomorrow.
Perfect. Anyone else hungry? Yes, I am. All right. Well, with that, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. But thank you so much, Biggie, for being here with us today. I really hope that we could have you on again.
Anytime.
You are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the sandwich world, for sure.
Anytime, my man. Anytime. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
It was nice meeting you, Biggie.
Nice meeting you too. Definitely follow me on social. I'm at Deli Fresh Threads. You can go to delifreshthreads.com. And definitely, by all means, if you see a sandwich, I'm all about talking sandwiches. I'm all about you showing sandwiches. That's one of the reasons why I love your page. And I think it's all about that sandwich community, dude. We gotta keep building showcasing and showing love to the sandwich.
For sure. All right. Well, thanks again. And
before you wrap it up, Andy, I got one
here. Ryan, did you?
So everybody, if you know the Chicagoland area, and pretty much, in the Chicagoland area, and if you want to see me go eat something, just share it to our page and send us links. And we'll just call it Where Will Ryan Eat Next? And I will try to hit these up and make some little videos, and maybe I can get Andy to go with me again. So.
Yeah, things are loosening up. So I think that's something we should do for sure.
Yeah.
So
but start telling us where we should go try things.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Ryan. I'm gonna have some final closing notes here, and then we'll sign off. But thank you so much again, everybody that joined us tonight. I know we went a little bit longer than what we normally do, but this was just such a great episode. And thank you so much again, Biggie, for being here with us today. Like he had said, check out delifreshthreads.com. I know that he is on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok even. So go check him out. Follow his pages, and check us out too. We actually I skipped some things in the beginning to get things going, but we just launched whatsasandwich.com. The site is kind of bare bones right now. It's just something to get us going, but we're working on doing some enhancements, and there's going to be some really cool features that come out in the future. Also check us out on Instagram. Obviously you're here on Facebook. Check out Ryan's pages, Switch Visions. They're on Instagram and Facebook. They have an Etsy page or Etsy shop as well. Thank you to everyone that's actually going out to our Etsy shop and ordering some things. We actually rebranded. You'll notice that we have a new logo. Thank you to everybody that contributed towards building that and coming up with the enhancements. Really appreciate it. There's a new t-shirt out on the shop as well that's got the new logo. So what I was going to say is every time we're selling things out on the shop, it's actually coming back into the page so it can fund these cool live casts that we're doing and the technology that we're using to bring our guests on and have you all contribute and comment while we're live. It's also contributing towards our contests as well. So our prizes and our prize packs that are given, not just from our donors, but actually from you that are purchasing our products. They're actually funding the prize packs. So it's pretty cool what you guys are doing. But thanks again for checking us out. Thanks for joining us live, and stay tuned for next month. We're gonna have Chuck Shelton on to talk about New Orleans sandwiches. And as always, keep snapping those pictures of those sandwiches. Keep eating sandwiches. Eat local. That's the big takeaway here tonight. And yeah, stay safe. Take care.